A few weeks ago, USC released its campus climate survey that reported nearly 1/3 of female undergraduate students have experienced some type of sexual assault while at USC.
Stephanie Haney, the Current's legal analyst and host of The Law of Attraction, is in the studio today to talk with us about the details of California's Yes Means Yes law, a law designed to educate college students on what defines consent to sex. Welcome back, Stephanie.
Thanks, ladies. It's good to be back. Today we're talking about California's Yes Means Yes law, consent to sexual activity, and when yes doesn't really mean yes. This law applies to how schools handle sexual misconduct cases, and schools have been struggling with it in a few ways since it passed last year, with some landing in court as a result. Yes Means Yes law spells out what is required to consent to sex. According to the law, consent requires affirmative, conscious, and voluntary agreement. That means that silence alone does not mean someone is okay with sex.
People think it's fight or flight, when in reality it's fight, flight, or freeze. And so at first I didn't know what to do, so I just sort of was in shock. And then when I told him no, he ignored me. And then I stopped saying anything at all, just trying to imagine it not happening.
There's no question that no always means no, but sometimes yes really means no too. I was curious what people really know about this issue, so I asked students across LA County if two drunk students have sex, has a sexual assault occurred? Here's what they said.
No, because they were both in the same state of mind.
Yes, yeah. They're drunk. What if one person didn't want to? Right? I don't know. Can I say maybe? Okay, maybe.
Most people got it wrong. They didn't know that two drunk people are not legally capable of consenting to sex.
Depending on what's brought forth, we'd have to look at, all of the details, but potentially both parties could be found responsible.
I wanted to know how deep the confusion goes, so I asked in this social media poll, what if a drunk person communicates a desire to have sex to a sober person, and they do? Did a sexual assault occur then? Only about 1/3 of those who answered, which is this portion of the pie chart here, knew that being drunk means you can't legally consent to sex, no matter what. Now, in a criminal court of law, it must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that someone is guilty in order to find them responsible. So on a scale of 0 to 100, that looks about like this. In contrast, in an administrative hearing at a school, the standard looks more like this on a scale of 0 to 100 and is called a preponderance of the evidence.
In layman's terms, that it's more likely than not that the respondent is responsible for the violation. It's found more likely than not that this person did this. So it's a much lower standard than it is in the criminal justice system.
The more likely than not standard also applies to proving a person is drunk and therefore incapable of consenting to sex.
They aren't clinical psychologists typically who can assess people's mental status, and so it can get to be very difficult for Title IX administrators to really ascertain whether or not there was capacity.
I reached out to USC Title IX Director Kagan Alley, who often leads these investigations.
Oftentimes we will receive screenshots of text messages or Facebook messages. We will get the names of relevant witnesses, and both parties can submit those names.
So now you know, drunk people cannot legally consent to anything, no matter what they say or do, and as the law now stands, it's much easier to prove a person is drunk in a school hearing than in a criminal court of law. And it makes no difference if the accused person is drunk too. Enforcement of Yes Means Yes policy is confusing to schools too. In a lawsuit stemming from a sexual misconduct case, UC San Diego was recently found to have provided an unfair hearing. USC's trial date on a similar issue will be set on November 5th. Make sure to tweet me at Law Attraction TV with what you'd like to see on an upcoming segment.